Hey guys, welcome back to Warrior Wisdom. This is the series where we interview faculty and staff across campus, hoping to learn from their experiences and seeing if they have any wisdom to offer. Today I'm here with Alex Link. Alex, would you be able to briefly introduce yourself and also share what brought you here to RCU?
Yeah. So I'm an admissions recruiter. I'm also an actor and an alumni of Rochester Christian University. I graduated back in 2018 when it was Rochester College. And so a bit of an old head. Just turned 30 this year. Had a bit of a pre-midlife crisis, but yeah, those are fun.
Okay.
But no, I mean, I've always been really drawn to this community. It's where I've made some of my closest friends. It's where I've found some of the, best mentors, people who've really helped, center me and guide me through the tougher parts of my life, like turning 30. But no, that's kind of what brought me back here. I wanted to give the experience that I got back to a new generation and make sure that they had someone that would be in their corner and look after them like the staff and faculty of RCU looked after me when I was just coming out of high school.
I love that, yeah. Did you kind of envision yourself coming back to RCU, or did it just kind of happen?
It just kind of happened in this capacity. I've even after graduating, I came back and I helped with a couple of things. I've been in a couple of productions, especially the summer productions with the Stratford upon Avon Summer Shakespeare Festival. And so in this capacity, I had never really expected to be a full-time staff member, but I'm glad that it worked out that way because, I've got to meet a lot of young, bright students, much like yourself. I've got to get more involved with the community in a way that I never really had the opportunity before to do so. Being a student is a lot different than being a staff member, and so being able to have a more direct impact in the lives of those around me has been really great. Yeah.
Wait, so you mentioned you've been through 3 name changes.
Yeah.
Which is your favorite of the 3?
I prefer the OG, the Rochester College.
Rochester
I guess
College.
that's not the OG because this school.
There's
right?
4 more.
That's how I remembered it. But I mean, I will say Rochester Christian University is a nice name as well. I like how it does convey, what we are, right? What kind of establishment we aim to be. But I did have a hard time breaking the trend of not calling it Rochester College when I started here. So it'll always be in my heart as Rochester College.
Yeah. To be fair, every now and then I'll see a lot of people refer to our school still as Rochester College, like in the area. So it's kind of funny.
It's really hard because I was in the choir here. Okay. And we would sing the school's alma mater song at like events and things like that, and it had the name of the school in it, so it would be like, "We hail from Rochester College," right? And when we came back and they're like, "All right, everyone sing the alma mater," I was like, "Oh yeah, I know that one." And then they were like, "We hail from Rochester Christian," and I was like, "What?" I was like, "That's not the word." Oh, I guess that's the words now, huh?
Yeah. Wait, so they don't have the university like Rochester?
I don't think so.
Okay, it probably wouldn't flow as well.
When we last saw, because that's what I thought they were going to do, but I was like, I don't think that keeps the scheme because we hail from Rochester Christian University.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just Rochester Christian in the fight song. I might be wrong though. So
the first question I want to ask is, what's a moment in your life that didn't go as planned, and what did it end up teaching you? Yeah. I'm gonna bring it back to acting. I had this experience where I was doing a show here, and another director had seen me do the show and asked me to come and audition for their show. And one thing that I was really set on was like, oh, if they're wanting to see me do this, there might be a really good chance that I could get this role, right? And then I didn't get that role, and
it shows me that even though you could have the experience, you could have that initial first meeting, it might not go the way that you had hoped, right? And one thing I learned from that is not to just immediately like give up hope and say, oh, well, they didn't hire me even though they saw what I was capable of and they liked me in the show. They didn't hire me for their show, but there's a whole season there that I can still go and audition for. They might not just have been right for that particular part. They might, want me to come back and keep trying, see if there is a part that they can fit me there. It might just, that part might not have been the one for me, right? And so auditioning is kind of like that. It's an actor's job is to audition, unless you're like, top 1% of actors who like everyone knows. Your job is going to be auditioning. You're going to go out there, you're going to face rejection, you're going to face those moments where you do get cast, right? And you'll have those times, but there are going to be times where you go out for a show and you could feel like everything's lined up for you and you know this person, they saw your work and it just doesn't go through. But that's life, right? That's the job, right? And you got to keep doing those kinds of things, right? So that's kind of one thing that I learned is that you do have to just keep going. That's if you want to succeed in anything that you're going to do. There are going to be times where you could have all the skills and all of the requirements and even someone on the inside who knows your work a little bit, but you might not get that job or you might not secure that scholarship or you might not, do X, Y, or Z, but that doesn't mean that you can just kind of give up on yourself, right? You kind of have to keep pursuing it if you want it. And I know that sounds a little bit cliche, and there's a lot of other contributing factors in there than just wanting it that might go towards it. But if you don't even put out the effort, like it's not going to just come to you. Very rarely does anyone get anything like that. So
this might be a crazy comparison, but what I noticed when you were explaining the auditioning process, I couldn't help but somewhat think of it as like kind of the dating process.
Okay.
I don't know if someone's made that comparison before, but can you
I'm sure someone has, but I've never heard it before. So that's like a really clever way of putting it. It is kind of like, the dating process of getting to know someone, the work that you bring, your resume, right, and everything, it's, your history and all of that, sharing that with the director and saying, the attitude you bring, all of that stuff, right? Because, part of the way is to get one of the ways to ensure that you keep getting work is pretty similar to one of the ways that you ensure that a good relationship keeps going, and that's by showing that you're someone who can be a team player, who can communicate, who can be beyond their own kind of ego, right? And so here's where I think the comparison really works, because I have heard people say that job interviews are kind of like first dates, right?
There you go.
So you have that moment, it's like, oh, well, what'd you do before this kind of thing? Oh, well, I did this, okay, well, what are your biggest strengths? You gotta talk about yourself, right? And you gotta make yourself seem good, but also not like you're, doing a lot of bragging, right? No one likes a braggart. But, and I've heard those two things be compared, dating and job interview, and I've heard theater auditions and job interviews being compared, because it's an actor's job interview is the audition, right? And so having that sort of triangle be completed with that, it is a little bit like doing that dating, that dating phase of your life where you're just, will this work? Is this good? Like, am I a good fit here? Am I a good fit here? Am I a good fit here? Do we work together well? Do I want to even work with you as a, company, right? Right. So
I was just thinking also how you were describing, you had this audition and you think it went well, and then you don't get the follow up, and it's like, it hurts. It hurts.
A lot of dates where you're like, oh, I think that went really great, and then you get that text like, it's just not gonna work out, that kind of thing. Like, I thought it went pretty great, but I guess that's that, right? And so you kind of move on. The good thing about it is, if you're in the dating scene and you get a no, that's kind of the end of it, right? But theaters always are doing shows. So if I audition for a theater one time and they tell me no, that doesn't mean the next time I go and audition for that theater, they're going to be like, why are you here again? I hope not. I hope not. If I walk into a theater and they're like, why are you even here? I was like, I probably did something very wrong.
Okay, yeah, that's the separation. Yeah. Okay. When life feels overwhelming, what helps you stay grounded and keep moving forward?
Yeah. One thing that I talked about in the beginning was this community, right? It's always been a great place to find, people who are encouraging your success, right? One thing that I feel that the staff and students and faculty of RCU have always done really well are those interpersonal relationships. Checking in on each other, saying, hey, how's it going? Are you doing all right? What are some things we could do to help? Having that sense of community around me really helps me to stay motivated, right? There are people who are going through similar things as well. It's not just me, right? I've got other friends who are actors who are like, yeah, I didn't get this role. Or, I've got some other friends who are gaining success, who are actively doing a show, every 6 to 8 weeks. They're always enrolled or always cast in another show, or they're doing the tech of the show, or so they're having success. And so seeing other people have that success, people who I know very well, who recommend me to other people and say, like, this is someone who I would work with, knowing that there are people in the industry who value me as an artist and value me as a person, really help me keep going, right? Because there are times, like you said, like you get that after date text, it's like, you're kind of sad because you thought it was going really well. You're like, am I really like cut out for this like dating thing? Am I even gonna like, is there any reason why I should keep going if, text after text is this isn't gonna work out, right? And acting, like, you're going out there every day, or every audition. If you're an actor, you're probably doing and you're trying to stay like very active in the theater scene, or any scene really, commercials, film, anything like that. You're probably doing like at least 10 auditions a month if you're not getting anything, right? And so hearing this isn't going to work out 10 times a month is kind of on the thing that you were like, oh, I thought I was actually kind of okay at this, but I'm not getting anything back, is like very disheartening, right? And so like having those people who can be there and say, no, your time will come, we are here for you, we see the work that you're doing, those kind of things. Having that community really helps me keep moving.
What would you say to someone who's maybe struggling to find community or a sense of belonging?
Well, each person is different, right? There are people who are going to be more willing to put themselves out there to find that community, and there are going to be people who aren't as willing for any number of reasons. But I would say that a lot of people in life aren't actively looking for reasons to start fights with you. There are, a good number of people who are out there who are just kind of bitter, and, you just got to avoid those people. But, most people in life are just trying to get through their own life too, right? And most people in life, when you have those moments of feeling low, they've also had those moments and can empathize with you. And so even if you're feeling like, I don't think anyone can kind of relate to what I'm going through, I don't think anyone could, care about me, or I don't think anyone would like the things that I like, whether I have like really niche hobbies, like, I love painting D&D miniature figurines, and that's really nerdy, and people don't like nerds and everything. Reach out, find those people who do, because like the worst thing that's going to happen if you reach out is they're going to be like, you're kind of weird and I don't want to talk to you. But then you'll find those people who are also kind of weird, and they will want to talk to you. And the weird people are the best people to talk to. They have, as a weird person myself, they have so much zest for life and so much love for the people around them that it's almost infectious. And so when you meet those weird people who really love what they do and really love the people around them, take that chance, reach out and say, hey, I'm trying to break into this, or I really have this hobby, but I don't know where to go. If they can't be the person to like enjoy that hobby with you, I guarantee you they know 7 other weirdos who really love that hobby and they can point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
I don't know much about being an ultimate Frisbee golfer, but I know several people who love to do ultimate Frisbee golf, and they hop around the parks in the summer and they find that time. So I could point someone who really likes that community and say, I know people who love doing that. Or, I don't know much about LARPing, right? Have you ever heard of LARPing?
No.
Live action role play. You get like a bunch of like foam swords and shields. You dress up like a knight.
Okay.
It looks really fun.
Yeah.
I've never had like a group to do that with, but I know people who have done it, and I just haven't had that time to like line up with them. But if like someone were like, I really want to do this thing, I really want to LARP, I'd be like, hey, go talk to this person. They have like this weekly or bi-weekly meetup where they can, run down like how to get really cheap LARPing equipment, and they can run you down the rules, and you'll have a great time, right? And so my advice to those people who are seeking that community is to just try your best to go out and find it, because if you don't put in that effort to go out and find it, it's a lot more likely that you're not going to find it, right? Sometimes community does bump into you, right? Sometimes there's a community that reaches out to you, but a lot of the times it's about putting in that work. If you want to be a part of a group, go in, introduce yourself. It's a lot less scary than it seems once you get your foot through the door and make that first connection. So,
I like that, yeah. My next question is, what's something you worried about deeply when you're younger that you now see differently?
One thing that I really worried about when I was younger was kind of community, right? Like when I was younger, I really wanted people to like me, especially people who I wanted to hang out with, right? There are a lot of kids who I was friends with, but I don't know if you've ever seen that meme of like there's 3 people walking down the sidewalk, but the sidewalk's only 2 people long, so one of them is walking in the back and 2 of them are walking side by side. That's kind of what it felt like to me in a lot of my friend groups, is I was a part of the group, but I would always be the one walking behind while the others were walking side by side. And that made me really self-conscious. It made me wonder, am I someone people want to be friends with and everything? But growing up, I realized that I don't really care about people's opinions of me. I care about being me, right? If I like to do something, I want to do that thing. I like playing Magic the Gathering. If people say, oh wow, that's a really nerdy thing to do, I'm going to be like, okay, well, I won't play Magic the Gathering with you, right? So it's like, making sure that you are happy and comfortable in your own skin. The things that make you the happiest are the things that you should pursue, even if people don't think that they're worthwhile, or they think they're so uncool, or anything like that. Like if you've always had a hankering to do trivia, right? Or to join the chess club, or to go out and do line dancing, right? Like, do those things if they make you happy. Don't worry about what will other people think of me. Worry about, will I enjoy my life, and will I be able to enjoy my life if I keep from doing these things that make me happy? Because, going out and line dancing isn't going to hurt anyone if you do it, right? You're having a good time. If your friends think it's lame that you take every Tuesday and Thursday to go out and do a little dancing, then that's on them. You can have fun with them at a different time. And if they're really your friends, they'll say, hey, that's really cool. I'll never do it. I don't really enjoy it, but I'm glad that you're having fun, right? So, yeah. But that was one of my biggest worries growing up, is do people like me? Am I someone worth being liked as a friend, and now I'm just like, well, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and if people like that, great. If people think I'm weird and a nerd, oh well, they're missing out on a pretty cool guy, right?
I think that really resonates, especially in high school, middle school, and even college. And just as people grow up, is they're trying to fit into a social norm or trying to fit the mold, but at the cost of who they really are or who they want to be, and they say things, do things that don't really align with their character. And I think the kind of word that's coming to mind is authenticity. It's like you want to be your most authentic self and not have to feel ashamed about it. And that's something sometimes, I know people in my life and even myself, and it's like you're trying to be a people pleaser, and but you're not really pleasing yourself. And ultimately that's a disservice to your community and the people around you, because you know, as long as you're not being,
as long as you're not like harming
being
anyone,
rude,
right? Or being rude, right?
What's the issue?
There's a difference between I'm going to be who I'm going to be and who I am is, you know, shouting at people and being rude to them, slamming doors in their face. And I'm going to be who I'm going to be, and who I'm going to be is a guy who puts on a robe and rolls dice with his friends in a basement for 4 hours talking about fighting dragons, right? Like that's a completely different thing. That's a thing that is a community-based event. You're making friends, you know, you're not hurting anyone, but you're helping people find that sense of community, right? So, definitely. This is not my endorsement to be like, go out there and, you know, the first person you see, knock them right in the stomach and say, I'm who I am, right? But more just being true to yourself and the things you enjoy. And the more you enjoy the things you enjoy, the more other people will see how those things can bring joy to them as well. And you might find someone who says, hey, I never really considered doing scuba diving before, but the way you're so passionate about scuba diving, even when people say you look like a nerd in that swimsuit, it seems really cool. Can I join you, right? And that's kind of how you bring people together around you to find those communities.
It's kind of stringing to, it might overlap, but if you could sit down face to face with your younger college self, what would you say to them?
I think one thing I would say is being a college student is kind of like the first time, and I don't know, every college student's experience is different. There are people who enter college and they've been on their own for a long time. Maybe they're, you know, emancipated from their parents. They've been taking care of themselves a long time. Me personally, I have a very guarded mother. I love her, but she tried to do a lot for me to the point where I didn't know how to do a lot of things myself. And so I would say taking those risks while you're in college in a safer environment where you've got that community, where you've got those friends, and taking those risks of, oh, I've never cooked a meal before. Let me take a minute to figure out how that might work. You might end up, you know, setting the smoke detector off at 3 a.m. and making it.
I've been there. Bar beer hole.
Classic bar beer. You might end up, you know, making a little people upset, you know, 3 hours before class starts, but you know, taking those risks and learning, you know, more about the parts of life that you don't know about, I guess, I think that's what college is all about, right? It's that time for learning who you are and who you aren't, what you're good at and what you might need what skills you might need time to develop, because all skills are skills that can be developed. There are very few things out there that you can't do. Now there is like, there are certain people who are just like wildly fantastic at them, who are prodigies and things like that. But I mean, if you can, you know, take the time to go and, you know, learn basketball, right? You might not be as, you know, great as Michael Jordan, but you can do it, right? You can become proficient in it. I believe, this last draft class had someone who has one arm, right?
I
can't remember his name, but he's the first one-armed basketball player to be drafted into a professional league, right? And so even though the traditional sense is like, oh, well, you have to have two arms to play basketball. How are you gonna, if you can only dribble in one hand, it limits your, but this guy managed to find a way to do it, and is part of that talent, sure, but a lot of it is the work that he put into, getting there. And so college is the time to find out, like, what skills are you going to need to put work into to make them skills that are no longer a hindrance, but something that you can do for yourself, right? And something that you can maybe even turn into a boon or a benefit, right? So, I don't know if it just sounds like I'm rambling now.
Yeah. The main message I'm getting is just taking risks in college. You're in a time when you can experiment or try things, and it won't be as consequential once you're postgraduated.
You're 30, you've got these things to pay bill, not to say that you don't have, like in college when you're going through and you have some things to pay, but once you get out of college and you're thinking about like family life, you're thinking about other things, your career, right? A lot of those things are things that you don't really want to play around with, and so college is the best time because you've got that community, you've got that place that's kind of like a home base for you. You've got people who are also in that same period of life as you, and you've also got people who have been through that period of life, knowing that they also had some growing to do, and so they're able to help like walk you through those things that you might not know, and have those experiments of what you can and what you can do and what you might need a little bit more time to get better at.
So that kind of strings into the next question, but what would you tell students who are struggling to find purpose beyond school?
Yeah, I mean, that is a really great question, because some people don't find their purpose even past school. Some people don't find their purpose until they're 60, right? They go through their whole lives, they've had a career, they've had things that they're doing, they've made money, but they don't feel satisfaction, they don't feel meaning, they don't feel purpose in what they're doing, right? And so I would say that for me personally, a big part of finding my purpose came from not worrying about my purpose, right? Because there's a lot in this world. There's a lot of ways that you could be called, and there's a lot of ways that you could be pulled towards. There's a lot of things, like I said, growing up, I wanted to do everything. I was one of those kids. I want to be a scientist. I want to be an athlete. I want to be a politician. I want to help my community by, passing good laws. I want to be an actor. I want to, do this, right? And so being a kid like that, if you're asking yourself, well, what is my purpose? And you've got all of these things bumbling around in your head, it's kind of hard to settle on an answer. I feel like purpose and meaning are pretty fluid things, right? So like things that, your purpose or the meaning is not for your life, but maybe more for the moment, right? Is how I see it, right? What's my purpose in this moment? Some people are excellent long-term thinkers. Some people really love that planning process of, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to get my degree in law, I'm going to become a lawyer, I'm going to defend people who are on death row, right? And they're like, that's what I'm going to do. Or I'm going to become a businessman, I'm going to become a member of Forbes 30 under 30, and I'm gonna work for an Indy 500, right? Some people are really great at that long-term planning, and I'm not. So what I found my purpose to be is, what can I do in this moment, in these surrounding moments, that will actively and positively impact the people around me, right? And one day that might just be buying a meal for someone, right? It might be, hey, this meal's on me, my treat, right? And the next day it might be helping a neighbor shovel their driveway, right? Hey, yeah, I see it's pretty cold out here. I'm already out here. I got the shovel on. Let me take care of that for you, right? So just taking it day by day, one thing that this world really tries to put on people is like, you have to have that long-term goal. If you don't have that long-term goal, that end point, you don't really have meaning, you don't really have a purpose, you're kind of floundering. And I think that's a very silly way of looking at life, and especially for people so young as, you know, people coming out of high school and going into college. Like, and I don't want to sound old, and I'm also not so old that I'm so far removed from college. Like, I've only been out of college for like 8 years. But there is a difference in mindset between when you're 18, when you're 22, and when you're 30. There's a lot of different things that you're worrying about at 18 and 22 that you're not worrying about at 30. And to tell someone you have to have your life figured out at 18, between the ages of 18 and 22, or else you're so far behind everyone else that you're just going to be wandering, is kind of a ridiculous notion to me. And so making sure that people know that it's okay to take it day by day. It's okay to say, my current purpose is passing spring semester, and once I pass that spring semester, I'll worry about what's going to come in, you know, after graduation, right? What am I going to do with my degree? I know what I wanted to do. It might not be the same as what I want to do now. Might not be the same as what I wanted to do when I was a freshman with this degree. You know, what I want to do now might be the same, but the pathway might look different. I thought I had, you know, a good chance with working with this company, but this company no longer exists. Or I thought I wanted to leave and go to Europe and work in Europe, but I found a nearby company that I really feel is a great, you know, fit for me. It's got a wonderful mission statement, and I want to be a part of that. And then, you know, telling people that they have to have their life figured out by then kind of puts this weird kind of feeling on them, where if I were to be like, I know what I want to do, I want to go and I want to work for this company, and they're a great fit for me, and then they go and they work for that company and they find out they're not really that great a fit for them. It's like, oh, well, this was kind of like my whole purpose, and now I have to change everything about who I am in order to like find that purpose again. Whereas if you're like, just take it a day at a time, what can you do now to positively impact the world around you and provide yourself with a decent amount of joy as well? If you keep asking yourself that question, you'll find that your purpose will always be with you. So.
I really like that. That's definitely something I haven't heard before, because it's essentially taking purpose and meaning beyond the future. It's just bring it back to now, and it doesn't have to be as set in stone as people make it out to be. It's something that's malleable. It's like water. That resonates a lot with me. I'm sure that would resonate with a lot of students, because there's this pressure to sort of know what you want to do, what you got to be, and sometimes it's very overwhelming and you don't have it figured out. But it's trusting in the work you're doing now. And I like what you said about, well, what can I do now? What is my purpose like now? And then being adaptable when maybe it doesn't work out how you wanted. It's good to have things in mind that you want to do, but not being so confined by them. I think that's a great summary. I wish I could have said it in as many words as you said. No. I mean, you said it, and I'm just trying to process it myself, so it sticks. Well, thanks so much for your time, Alex. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.